And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananji commences tonight's Satsang with a Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is based on a poem by Swamiji. It's called The Shining Pebble. Early one morning, as I stood by the surging sea, with a shining pebble in my hand,
with a shining pebble in my hand,
I let the shining pebble fall to mix with the deep, deep, deep blue sea. I lost my shining pebble.
I lost my shining pebble
Of my little ego that fell from my hand
that fell from my hand
into the sea of eternity. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananji in Miami, Florida. Today is July the 18th, 2018, Wednesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2018, class number 57. And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananji.
Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Utpatti Prakarana. The story of Leela continues. Section is 60. The topic is the relativity of time and space. You've already heard many times of Leela's story which is presented to you in the form of a computer type of insight, of having a folder within folder, within folder. 3 folders are there, one within the other. Each folder brings out a totally different picture, different contents, different world. To give you, again, just to remind you, King Padma and Leela, they were great personalities. They lived a long duration of time serving people, and they were extremely devoted to each other. So much so that Leela, the queen, privately, secretly practiced devotion to Goddess Saraswati with the idea of helping her husband and to securing their relationship with him, even after death. So she secured the boon that if her husband were to die, let his spirit stay right in her room. And the boon was granted. Just like you put a folder in a particular folder. How much space does the folder require? Nothing. I'm just giving you a broader understanding. So, but Leela found after his death, also it was told that flowers on the body of the dead body will not fade away. And that Padma will one day come back to life. Until that, there will be drama. Back and forth. Who was Padma before? And what he is while he is dead. 2 stories go on. In the previous world, they were Vasistha and Arundhati, a couple, Brahmins, and their death has occurred only short while ago, that means just 10-15 days back. And Goddess Saraswati also gives Leela insight into where her husband is at present. And to her great surprise, her husband, she visits twice. First time, husband was just a young man inheriting a big kingdom. Second time, just hardly few days have passed. Second time she goes, is already 60, 70, and engaged in a terrible battle. And Leela goes and visits in a subtle way, in an astral, mystical way. Leela and Saraswati, they enter that room where the king, mortally injured, is brought. The dying king is dying, and they are conversing, Leela with Saraswati, what's happening to the soul. Also, I have introduced you to Leela number 2. When Viduratha died, he comes in another world, and there he finds similar personalities, and especially his wife is exactly a replica of Leela. And Leela comes to realize later that she herself, her great desire to be with the king, became the basis of projecting her own personality. Don't be surprised, that's exactly what happens in your dreams. You find your loved ones exactly the same. same type of cloth, same type of hair, same nose. And they enter into your bedroom without touching your bed, enter your consciousness. So, at this stage of the story, insight is being given by sage Vasistha to Rama in reference to the illusory nature of time and space. And that's an important point for those who study Vedanta and for profound understanding of a spiritual path. Your goal is not in the world of time and space. That's the majority of people always when they think after death, where will they go? And they are told they will go to heaven, their eyes go up beyond the Milky Way. Imagine there is such a abode where things are so peaceful and you meet everyone that you have loved. And there is every all types of happiness. But that's an allegorical consolation. Because no matter wherever you direct your attention in the world of time and space, there is no place that is secure. Any place you think of is somewhere in a planet, like Earth planet. But Earth goes on circling around, otherwise it will be Earth. Earth means nothing. Sun, moon, stars, all are in a process. They are all aircrafts, mystic aircrafts, spacecrafts. Crafty, God is very crafty. So nowhere you have absolute abode that cannot be shaken. But that point, and further to come back to more normal way to understand, time space that is studied according to scientific study, that time and space is totally different from time and space that you experience. Time presented by clocks or all the scientific equipments where even 1 second of flow can be detected. That time is totally different. That goes on, but that has nothing to do with your experience. The time that you experience, simple way to understand, if you are happy, time flies. If you are in suspense, time gets confined into an egg and you have to beg for it. I'm joking. Now with this, let's follow the teaching. This world is illusory. You should not think that since this world created by Brahma, this world is created by Brahma, it cannot be negated by simple human effort. In fact, the created world exists only for the intellect that is limited by ignorance. When ignorance is removed, the world, freed from the evil of Maya, shines as Brahman. Here we are being given something very profound. First point, all in spiritual progress, your mind is using realistic mathematics. So when you think of karmas, you start gathering the number, how many karmas. If I did so many mantras, how many lives have I improved? How many negative karmas have I destroyed? So keep a kind of mathematical calculation in your mind. And then whenever you hear about you will go to Sadgati, go to heaven, there again your mind goes into how far distant it is from the earth planet. And how long it will be after my death. When you are told we will be born again, if you have karmic karmas, you have not become enlightened, your mind operates with the same standard of time and space that you have been experiencing. You want to study souls coming back in the same way. And you don't realize that soul, led by its karma, will get into any type of experience. A world at the time of Shakespeare. If your karma needs that, you will find there. Everyone saying, hi ho. In other words, your progress is not like the way you study evolution. Evolution of every creature. See, from atomic state you go on evolving, monkey state, then go on evolving to human. That type of study is for a different level of mind. The spiritual movement has a totally different dimension. So, all this needs to be understood. Now, what the statement was, that therefore, do not, when you are turning towards enlightenment, following the path leading to liberation, do not hold your mind conditioned by your mathematical talent. Because liberation can put an end, enlightenment can put an end to all the world process in a moment. All your karmas can burn up within a moment, or in a shorter duration. But if you have not opened the gateway to liberation, then you are completely restricted by Brahma's world, a world that is absolutely scientific. Not a leaf will fall without causation behind it. Everything is there. So that's where it says, people describe destiny. It's like Brahma's statement written down on a mystic page. And that Brahma's statements cannot be negated, not a single letter. Brahma Vakya. So that type of teaching applies to a mind that has not opened the gateways to liberation. And gateways are serenity, shama, satsanga, good association, santosh, contentment, which are mind opening to mystic enquiry. If these gateways begin to open, you are not limited by Brahma's world. totally come into a totally different stage. And therefore, the statement, you are the architect of your destiny, has two levels. In the world of karmas, you are the one who create karmas. So if your karmas have not been good, you can improve upon it by your self-effort. And that's perfectly in harmony with Brahma's order. Whatever you do is under Brahma's law. Every karma that you do will have its reaction or its fruit in a precise manner. So, you are the architect of your destiny at this level. But no matter however much improvement you bring in your life, it is going to be transient. Because Brahma himself is transient. Shocking news. Brahma comes to an end, another Brahma becomes, according to storyline. So, countless Brahmas have come and gone. That's allegorical statement. One's desires for the world are empty. They have no substance. In other words, what you are desiring, can the world give you something substantial? You can say, look at me, you gave me this whole body. It's a good answer. But wait, what you were 30 years before and what you are going to be 30 years later. And then figure out how things are. All attainments, big buildings, lot of money, great fame, so many souls attained those things. And that is the predicament of being in the world of time and space, bonded with karma, karmic process. And what the statement is, therefore, all your desires, so many things you want to have, your dreams, fascinating ideas, all of them are empty. You also understand that at this advanced teaching should be understood in a profound way. When you hear this doesn't apply to your practical realities. No matter how much you understand, the whole world is unreal. Yet when the time comes to take tea, take it. Don't make any mistake. Don't put tea on your nose. Okay, one moment. Reminded me of tea. Destiny doesn't exist in reality, implying that if your destiny you think in the terms of worldly attainment, that's a big illusion. There is no past, present, or future. Any attainment conditioned by time, time itself is not a reality. When the vision of intuition unfolds, the world melts in Brahman. Simple way to understand, when you are dreaming, you are experiencing time, space, causation. You have a whole world. When you wake up, the entire world has melted into your consciousness. That again is allegorical. There is nothing really to melt. Just like you wake up from your dream. Enlightenment is like waking up from this illusion of the world process, which is described as a long dream. Sri Rama asked, O sage, I am immensely delighted to listen to your ambrosial words, nectarine words. I am no longer scorched by the fire of cravings. My heart is now flooded with the nectarine rays emanating from the moon of spiritual wisdom. This is called Guru Purnima. My heart is flooded with the nectarine rays emanating from the moon. See, when we allow that, that's Purnima. The moon of spiritual wisdom. I would like to hear more of this glorious wisdom. Please explain to me how it is possible for a person to experience a long duration of time in just a few hours, and a spacious world within the confines of a room. It's hard to explain to a child how so many things can be brought into the computer in a little small box. Now we have to figure out what I mean. And it is this point that mind has to grasp and be settled with that understanding. So instead of your mind constantly looking in the world of past, present, and future, mind develops that subtle mystic art of going beyond past, present, and future, transcending this. And for your information, the biblical symbolism of cross gives the same message. The world of past, present, and future is one line, straight. Transcending this past, present, and future is the vertical movement, cross. That crossing process can occur any moment, but it requires being well prepared. If you have all qualities that enable you to become a qualified aspirant and well integrated, then it's just like waking up from a dream. Or sometimes while dreaming, dream goes on and still you are awakened. When that state comes, you are Jivan Mukta. The world goes on, but you are beyond it. You are awakened. And finally, even the dream moves away, then called Videha Mukti. The liberation in two stages, while you are alive and when your body drops. Yoga Vasistha explained, O Rama, such is the magical potency of the mind that by the intensity of its conviction, even poison can turn into nectar, and an enemy can turn into a friend. These are all allegorical words. All that it means that your mind has amazing power. All that you experience is on the basis of projections of the mind. In a cinema show, all the show you see is based on projections. And projections are not continuous pictures, they are all broken pictures. Your mental projection is succession of vrittis, thought wave after thought wave. So whatever you are experiencing is created by mind's movement in such a way that you don't see the difference between one thought wave and another thought wave. And yet there is a split between the two. Just for understanding that if one were to enter into samadhi, that profound state, mystical, advanced state, then that's what's happening. Your vision is not distracted by past, by present, by future, nor the present. Even the present is a form of illusion, though it is all in collusion between past and future. It's always, you never know where is present. But this story of past, present and future is mind's magic. Mind creating all that. But try to understand, if you were to acquire a vision that is not backed up by projections, simple way to understand, if you were to see projections lifted up, what do you see? The screen. The screen has been there all the time, but you go on seeing the show. Pure consciousness, Brahman, the Absolute, is all the time. But you are going on constantly involved with thought waves of your mind. The potentiality is always there. If you were to just split one thought wave entering into another thought wave, just split that, you will have a revelation. Revelation, all this is false. Brahman alone is real. Also understand, this type of revelation begins to enter your mind in a progressive manner, because you are not able to exactly shift thought waves and see the screen. It's always a progressive movement. But if you were to do that, there is instant revelation of the truth. That's what the Upanishads describe. Purna madaha purnamidam. That God who is full, the same God is everywhere in this world. So don't be fooled. fullness of God is not a matter of a project. That since all this has come from the full, one day again it will go back to the full. Not so. It is full all the time. The dream emerges out of your body, out of consciousness. But all the time your consciousness is intact. And the dream in itself is nothing but that consciousness. So when the dream is taken away, what happens? Your own consciousness remains. Consider the same way the whole world experience based on the mind that you have. And the mind is not something, a permanent reality. It has been fashioned by your soul through its process of karma. Through life after life, you have created your mind in a particular way. Simple rule is, if you allow your mind to repeat the same experience again and again, if it is positive, it is good for you. But if it is negative, to you that negative becomes your reality. And how can you undo it? Again, allow your mind to go into the repeated effort to assert within yourself, it is not real, it is not real. I am Brahman. The world is not real. Led by the impressions of the unconscious. While one person experiences a long duration of time, another person might find it only a short while. Same house you live in. One member of the family is very happy, and he has happy dreams, he's going to Hawaii. Joking. Another person is finding hard to pass the night. Every moment is a big burden. Come and don't dramatize the negative. He's facing a negative challenge in his life. So, for an outsider, oh, they are sleeping so peacefully. But everyone has their own world. And time is not exactly the same. One wakes up refreshed. Another wakes up with hair turning grey. And all this is led by the impressions of your unconscious. Samskaras, they are the basis of allowing you to experience things in so many ways. Time, space, causation, your growing movement, all your effort, all your accomplishment, they are all based on samskaras. Like forest grows out of seeds. In turn, seeds come and re-energizing of the forest continues. There exists time within time, space within a space. That's simple illustration. You dream. You are sleeping while you have put your alarm and your sleep is controlled by your alarm. But within that time range, you have another time where you are going to have a project in your dream. So you are working with time within time, world within world. A person afflicted with the sorrow of separation from a loved one finds his night long and dreary. But for a joyous person, the night passes as if it were just a moment. Similarly, within a short time, a person might dream of his own birth, growth, and a life abounding with many events. Now, in a Puranic way, if scriptures have tried to bring it, this is not to be viewed exactly literal, but allegorical. The entire lifetime of Manu is, Brahma is the source of this creative universe. But Brahma is a relative aspect of God. God who is involved in creation. That God is a lesser aspect of God. Higher aspect is beyond. God is one and the same. But as long as the mind is operating in a negative way and is conditioned, same God plays the role of Brahma, the lower God, handling all your karmas and giving you results according to your karmas and allowing you to create new karmas and also allowing you to create qualifications that will allow a soul to step beyond Brahma. And it's perfectly okay with Brahma. Same with Indra, who rules over people according to their karmas, giving the result of good karmas, leading the soul to heaven. But at the same time, he allows the soul who has developed profound virtue to go beyond heaven. See, in Mahabharata, Arjuna is Indra's own son. And Indra allows Arjuna to go attain liberation, not to stay with Indra. Now, coming back to this, the entire life, Manu refers to Brahma's son. Try to understand the implication of the word. Human being is man. Man, woman, man is equal. Man comes from the word man, manas, mind. That man emanates from Manu. So Manu, man, they come to the same category. So that source of mankind, defined by mind, that source is Manu. His lifetime is only 2.5 hours of Prajapati. Prajapati, the creator. If you bring Prajapati, how long a Brahma lives, that to human mind it will be difficult to understand. Scriptures give you various allegorical pictures. So, coming back to this, figurative description. While Brahma lives on, every day of Brahma is split up into muhurtas. Muhurtas are units of 2.5 hours. You have to figure that out, mathematics. And in every muhurta of Brahma, a Manu, who from human standard lives for thousands of years, Manu dies. The lifetime of Prajapati is only a day for Lord Vishnu. The lifetime of Brahma is unimaginable from human point. Even that is a day of Vishnu. But Vishnu again, being Saguna Brahman, is not the ultimate reality. So even Vishnu is described in the terms of limitation of time. One who has attained mastery over the mind, one who has attained liberation, has gone beyond this time process. If you continue to assert that a certain object is sweet, it will become sweet for you. Based on vasanas, subtle desires of the mind. We remember the story of fisher women having spent the day fishing. Suddenly they realize they have become late and clouds have developed in the sky. So they couldn't find their way home. So they received hospitality from a gardener. And gardener, out of great warmth of his heart, arranged their room with lots of beautiful flowers. When they lay down to sleep, they had hard time sleeping. One said, "What can we do? This foul smell is choking us." Another one said, "Do you have the fish net?" Wash at it, put some water on it. Tear it up 3 parts. Each of us will have a bandage. A fish net. Now he slept wonderfully. This whole world is Satchidananda. Fragrance beyond imagination. Sheetal Mand Sugandh. Gentle, graceful, joyous. But everyone is a fisher person. And that smell of fish is so comforting. That any situation that tries to take away the fish web away becomes a big challenge. Satsanga becomes a big challenge to many people. Because Satsanga wants to take the web away. So I've given allegorically that everyone is comfortable with the way their subtle desires have been fashioned. And those subtle desires block out all glory and grandeur of the divine self. You are always in heavenly garden. But your smelling process, your experience, vasana is literally implies a kind of fragrance. See, vas, suvas. So if you continue to create a vasana, positive or negative, that becomes your reality. If you are doing positive, then you are receiving a revelation from the truth. So that has a different implication. But I am now talking positive in a very profound way. You may also talk about positive and negative in a kindergarten way. Then what is positive is not really so, but it appears. Going to a drunken house compared to that, going to something educational, both are illusions, but one is better than the other. Now, this point has been brought out in the Gita in a more profound way. Dhyayato vishayan punsah sangasteshu pajayate. When you dwell upon anything, any object, that's the literal meaning, but object means whatsoever comes to your mind. A feeling of sadness, a bad memory, a constant bugging problem. And if you allow to stay constant, you have possibility to move away from it, do something about it, change your angle, engage yourself in things that will elevate you, inspire you. But forgetting all other choices, you just stay with it and allow it to linger. It's called dhyayato vishayan punsa. Go on repeating again and again. Then it becomes your reality, the part of you. And one day you begin to miss your headache. What has happened to my head? Doctor, save me. I'm joking. Imagine the idea of being a worryless person can be a shocking experience. Suddenly got up. There's nothing to worry. I lost my mind. How terrible. So coming back to the point, whatever type of feeling, concept, thought, memory, whatever you repeat in your mind, allow it to stay longer, and that's what we mean repeat. Allow it to stay, linger. then that becomes your reality. So dhyayato vishayantu sangasteshu pajayate. You become blended, united with it. Sangat sanjayate kama. If that happens, now you are willing to have more of that experience. Even though you know it is negative, but your mind is going to move. See, you have all types of possibilities. Possible to go to groups of people who are joyous, or go to people who are crying. You choose those people. And you thank God I have a compassionate heart. And you will justify it, no matter which way you go. Sangat sanjayate kama. Because of that intensity of vasana, your desires develop to accordingly. Kamat krodho bhijayate. Living with kama, desire, means you are not healthy. You are not yourself. You are always waiting something to happen. And when it has two possibilities. Your desire can be fulfilled the way you wanted it. Sometimes things are not exactly so. Sometimes it gets fulfilled 100 times more, or even 10 times, or even just simple fulfillment. Mind reacts to that fulfillment. A kind of happiness that keeps the mind agitated. You lose all objectivity. Your happiness is just focusing your mind to the thing that has given you happiness. And with it comes many problems, how to secure it. So this is, in Gita's terminology, this is agitation, whether you become happy or unhappy. Both are aspects of agitation. And Gita uses the term krodh for it. Normally translated as anger, but in that context is agitation. If your desires are fulfilled, you are agitated. You are not yourself. If desires are not fulfilled, you are agitated. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. When anger or agitation takes over your mind, your reason, which is a very affectionate guide for your personality, what has happened, you have shut the door to your reason. The reason is banging on the door, do something. But good, let the reason come out. That's called sammoha. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammohat smriti bhransha. Buddhi nasha. Intellect becomes restricted. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. That's the process of downfall. Reverse that process. Instead of constantly thinking of something that keeps your mind agitated, think of God that keeps the mind calm. Turn to japa. Turn to the understanding, I am there is eternity behind all things. Your goal is neither yesterday nor tomorrow. Goal is with you. Deep down you are whole. Don't look for a goal. If this is brought into your mind through scriptures, through japa, meditation, through repeated effort. So, dhyayato devan punsa. If your Godward mind is repeated again and again, akrodho vijayate. Krodha will not be there. Calmness will arise. With that calmness, your buddhi will blossom. Intuitive knowledge. Intuitive knowledge will destroy mortality and lead you to immortality. All that starts with your mental process day by day. And that there lies your greater attention to be given and focus. What makes you go down, sink into negative? And how to shift your mind, even while the mind is negative. How to go on doing things that will lift you up. But not to become desperate that I'm gone, I'm finished. And meet with people who go on telling you, you are wrong, you are already dumped. That impact on the buddhi, that creates a special feeling within yourself called bhavana. Bhavana can be shubha bhavana, positive, or it can be negative. Bhavana can turn even a festive occasion into a pathetic affair. Once the bhavana in your heart has become disturbed, everything may be going on wonderful in your family. Everybody is rejoicing. But you are not rejoicing. They didn't give you the pudding you wanted. You have seen how children, while playing joyously, might suddenly take to weeping and crying. See, bhavana is not under control in children, so suddenly things change. It doesn't take much time. They are harassed by non-existent devils. And behold, how the sense pleasures of a dream appear joyous even though they do not exist. The world is sustained by Maya. It is not capable of restricting the self. Different beings experience different worlds. These worlds do not contradict with each other. Just as many people sleeping in the same room can dream so many different things. Therefore, the knowers of the self have described this world as a unique form of dream. And with this we'll conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
If anyone has a question, please raise your hand.
Namaste, Swamiji. Swamiji, quantum scientists, quantum physics scientists now think that past can actually be changed. What is your stance on this? Is it possible to change past, or what has been? And that's it. Thank you.
First point, engaging your mind to things that have no practicality is misuse of the mind. So, keeping that in view, past, without going into to the help of quantum science, just use common sense. The memories of the past, if you understand, if you improve your present, then you will begin to understand that your past has impacted on how you have come to the present. So you are not holding the past as something contradictory to you. By that you are changing your past. But figure that out. Not the quantum science. Your simple conscience. Everyone has that ability to, firstly, minds moving to the past. It doesn't. If mind is not under your control, then the mind will simply wander. If the mind comes under your control, you allow the mind to go to the past but pick up the good pasture. And learn lessons from those things that have been negative. Simply bringing the past to your present, it has no bearing upon you. Already your present has lots of problems around you. Why to dump the past over it? Figure that out.
Swamiji, when you were talking about Brahma, does that consciousness, as it is finished, does that move up into a higher level of consciousness with God or communion, or what happens to that Brahma after that time period that you're talking about?
Try to understand. God is like the sun. But the sun has in its own level, that is Brahman. When you are working in your farm, you need the sun that allows your farm to give you nourishment. That sun that nourishes your farm, that is a limited sun. In cloudy days, it will go away. Months change and that sun will not have the same power. In language you will say, look, the sun did this and the sun now has retired. And the sun has become so tired, he is dead. But it has nothing to do with the real sun. Similarly, we speak of gods in different levels. They have a period of time, and whatever they give you is also limited. Ultimately, if you want to attain enlightenment, you reach the sun. Don't go after all the illuminations and what they do. So that point has to be brought into the mind. Figure that out.
Pranam, Gurudev. Gurudev, the Brahma's world and the Brahman's world. So, the Brahma's world being temporary.
Brahman's world. Brahman doesn't have any world. Brahma's world is a world that is enjoyed through conditioned mind of a human being. See, just like the sun doesn't need these illuminations on the earth planet. But look at everyone, how they enjoy the illuminations. The illumination that you are enjoying is Brahma's world. And that Brahma is sun's radiation. That radiation has a reality only for the earth planet or for earthly mind. But you have gone beyond earthly mind, then you are interested not in this Brahma's illuminations, but the sun. And the sun is just all the time. Sun has no world. All this is simply his illuminations interpreted by human mind.
So, would it be correct to say that the Brahma's world is Sagun Sakar and Brahman is Nirgun Nirakar?
Yes, that's correct.
So, the Brahma's world, the Brahman is beyond the mind, body, intellect.
Right.
And
Brahman
Brahma's
is
world is-
Nirgun and Nirakar.
So, the kleshas and the karmas only apply to the Brahma's world.
Correct.
And the sadhana, will that, I guess the sadhana needs to be, if it's done with the goal of reaching Brahman, is that what you were talking about, recursive movement of
Yes,
affirmation?
that's correct. That's what is described as the different steps leading to enlightenment. Manonash, Vasanakshaya, Tattva-gyan. All this is moving away from all the illuminations based on conditioned mind. Uncondition your mind, then illuminations have no reality. It has never been real. Sun has been the reality all the time. All this is said so quickly, but they have to be assimilated. That's what life is.
Thank you.
Just two quick announcements. Narayan has confirmed that tomorrow night there will be a discussion group, so those who like to attend that group at 6 p.m., it will be held tomorrow night, Thursday. And although every night feels like Guru Purnima, and indeed is Guru Purnima, remember that the actual real Guru Purnima is this coming Sunday, July 22nd, starting at 5 p.m. And now it's time to come for Kumkum blessing.